Da 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 da. Welcome to their developer chat here on this May the 4th, 2009. Here we are, me, Vash Community, the Chaz, and Helper Yoko to discuss cool things having to do with developer community. And so here we go. Let's get this party started. So we're going to start things differently this time. Actually, I have a couple questions that I want to ask the developers, as well as there were some items that were tabled from the member advisory board meeting, and I want to actually bring those here. They were tabled specifically so that we can discuss them here at the developer chat, and then I'll let the Taz and Helper Yoko make any kind of announcements that they might have, and if they have any. And then we'll take questions from the members. And the way questions work is I'm actually about to take myself off of D&D. You send me an IM. You say in the IM, I have a question, and then it's like essentially putting your hand up. I will then call on you in the box and in the zone box, and in the zone box you will ask your question. You don't need to tell me your question because I'm not going to repeat it. I'm going to ask you specifically to ask your question because sometimes I have no idea what you're talking about. So starting, I wanted to ask the members what types of incentives we can give the developers to participate in our pitch events. We actually started this conversation just a moment ago, and I think that some of the feedback I was getting was that we should announce it sooner. Lots of prior notice, right? That is great. That is great feedback, actually. I mean, other than that, is there anything else that you guys think would be great for incentive? Well, we called it. It's basically the pitch event, so that this was specifically targeted for Coke, but we might have other pitch events for other companies. But for now, it's Coca-Cola, and internally we call it the pitch event. It's not really an event.
Well, Vash, another thing about that besides the money they offer you if they take it up on it, there was the one thing I wasn't sure, like there was a commemorative item that you get, but I didn't know if that was just for having submitted for something to be pitched, or if that was in addition to, if they select your item, you get the T-Bucks plus this commemorative item for participating.
So to be more clear on exactly what we're giving.
Yeah, because I don't know if that was a commemorative item, if your item was selected, or a commemorative item for just having participated and sending in an item for consideration.
That makes sense. Well, I think that we try to be as clear as we can in our posts, but sometimes things aren't as clear as we think they are. So, yeah, I think that that's I think that I don't actually know the answer because it's been a while since I've actually read the pitch idea, the pitch post. But totally, I think that maybe if there was more clarification. Is there anything else?
I think the last time, at least, they made a better effort of giving us a link to the Coke logo that we could use to incorporate into our design. I think that we need to make sure we have that in place.
Right. We actually did the next day. It wasn't until the next day that we actually had the link to the file. But you're right. I mean, immediately and very clearly, this is if we have like the link to where you can download the file, that would probably be best.
And I'm sorry to kind of be dominating here, but the other thing I got too is in reading the last pitch they made is, you know, they seem like they want things more traditional or something like that, not necessarily something that we may think is more avant-garde, and you know, we put a logo on it. So, and in fact, the last one, it seemed like they just wanted household decorations type items.
Right. So if we were to open it to give the developers more freedom.
Always.
Hmm. All right. Well, I'll take all that feedback and I'll bring it back and we'll see what we do with our next pitch event. Event in quotations. It's not really an event, but it's an event internally.
And seriously, that time frame, I mean, go back and look at that. I mean, they didn't really give you much time, maybe, a week or two. That's just not enough.
So how much time do you think would be like best? Like a month?
At least.
At least a month.
If there's nothing going on, then a month would be good. If there's lots of stuff going on, like the prom and then the Geek Week coming up, then maybe longer, at least for me.
Yeah, there has been a lot of events going on lately, especially events with different types of themes.
6 weeks is a very fair minimum for that because you do have to consider that there's themes that people have to, especially if you want new models made, it's a really long time to do all that, and 6 weeks is way more fair than 2 weeks because in 2 weeks you can't even get a clothing item done and in for a contest.
All right. Well, thank you all for your feedback on that issue. If you guys have any other feedback, please send me an email, their mail, or you can send an email to community@there.com with your ideas. And all of your feedback is appreciated as always. I did have an announcement. I think this comes from Helper Yoko. The announcement that is, if you guys want to have your prom event in time, your prom event items in time, be sure to have your prom items submitted by Friday, so that they can be in for the prom, Friday 5 p.m. So if you guys have any things that you're working on for the prom and you want it to be in on time for the prom, Friday 5 p.m. That's our... What do you mean? How do you notate prom on them? You mean like, how do you notate that? I think that pretty much anything that is submitted by Friday the 5th will be approved in time for prom.
Does that include the props because there's a delay in the props right now?
We're trying to make sure that any of the prom items are out in time for prom, so that's including props.
Okay, yeah, because I'm one of the ones who had a skirt that it took over a week to come back.
Yeah, if you're concerned, just send us a note and we'll go and take a look at it and just make sure that it's out. We're going to be reviewing all the items by 5 p.m. Friday. That's just on the safe side to make sure that everybody's prop items for prom are going through, and it's really important. I think that we want to make sure that we're getting everything out on time. Thanks for your help.
Thanks for the heads up.
Great. All right, so I guess we're going to start. I'm going to bring some of the issues that were brought up to the member advisory board and bring it here because I think that they were better handled at this meeting. Are you guys ready? All right, let's go. So one of the things that was brought to the MAB agenda was a question for, well, I believe it would probably be the Chaz, if we can have an update on the status of 12-seater builder items, and also if we could also get a status on 16-seaters and 20-seaters. It's a lot of seats.
Okay. There's no real status update. I know we did release some of the... Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah, we did release some of the seating items a couple months back. The 12, the 16, the 20, the additional seating styles, I don't have any update on that. We haven't made any progress with those.
So the update is no update. And the next question that was actually brought to the MAB agenda isn't really necessarily about a developer item, but I figured that you might actually know the answers. So we've released some female hairstyles, and it's very clear that men are going to want some hairstyles, and they wanted to know whatever happened to the Jordan. That's actually one of the first questions. And that's the bald head with the headband. And what other types of male hairstyles people might be able to look forward to. I mean, I have been stating that we really don't have anything in the works for hairstyles, but that we always are thinking about, what we can do for the future.
Specifically long hair.
Chad?
Yeah, there wasn't. Yeah, there aren't any male hairstyles in the queue. I know we had a few of the female hairstyles as a result of some of the partnerships. The Jordan, I think we had actually asked for a name for it, and I think based on the names suggestions that we got from the community, we decided that I guess people don't really like it, so we never actually released the Jordan. I know there was some other facial hairstyles that came out some of the partner events that we hope to release in the future. I think that pretty much covers it.
Yeah, I think that the facial hair counts as male hairstyles, considering that females can't really get facial hair. Though I don't know. Do you think the women would want facial hair? No, I'm kidding. And then the third thing, which was a suggestion about different types of mannequins. Suggested that specific item mannequins for cheaper, so like a shoe mannequins, a shirt mannequin, something that specifically for an individual item that you could sell for cheaper for, starter developers. If that's going to be a possibility, or if that's something that we can work toward.
I got lost.
There weren't any plans to do any other, mannequin styles. There were the item dispenser, which you can use to sell individual items of clothing. But as far as specific mannequins, I think it was kind of designed to just be flexible enough to allow you to choose the different items you want to sell.
The flexibility works for those who have many different items. The specific concern that was brought up was there are people who only make t-shirts. Would there be a way to where, because I know that the mannequin, I can switch it to where it only shows a t-shirt, is there a way to only buy that, which would be cheaper, which would encourage starting designers to, participate in that as well? It would increase sales of, the cheaper mannequins for there, and it would also help, increase the revenue by having more designers releasing, the things that they do have. Yes, a one-item mannequin, essentially, that does not change into something else.
I think that it's an excellent suggestion, and I think that's something that we probably have to bring back to the team. Not sure, it's just, that's a really, really good idea. Not sure if we will be doing this, and if we will be doing it, if it would be anytime soon. But I think that's an excellent suggestion. I'm not even sure if it's possible. I don't know if the Chaz knows the answer to that.
It may be possible. Not sure without looking at it.
With the Chaz, anything's possible. He is the magic maker.
Well, you can buy from the dispenser. I was just reading the question in the chat.
Right. The dispenser has its place, but you don't get the visual, and a lot of people want that visual.
Right. So we'll bring that internally, and we'll talk about it. I think it's a really good suggestion. Past that, I don't think that I have any other questions that were sidetracked from the MAB, unless anyone
No,
from the
we
MAB
do.
is here. Oh, go for it.
They wanted to know, again, abayas are being brought up, and they're being posted in our forums every week. They want the abayas. They
The what?
want abayas, Muslim clothing.
Ah. Yeah, that's one of those items that we've added to the suggestion board, and there's no project currently working on that, but it's there.
And the release date for the fitted men tops, fitted men bottoms.
I don't have the release date. I have some updates to I sent off the suggestions that were in the forums. There were some changes that were requested, and I got back most of the changes. The artist is still working on remapping the top to match the female as was suggested, but the other changes have been incorporated. So as soon as I get everything's complete, I'll post those in the forums again for testing.
Okay, and lockability of hover boats was supposed to be brought here.
Yeah, I was surprised. I thought that actually got pushed through because I know that had gotten fixed in the last beta. I'll add it to my list to figure out why that isn't in production yet.
Woohoo!
I need to go read some notes. I think that that's it.
No, actually, yep, Francis with the,
Cutting and pasting. Francis, just ask out loud. Please just ask out loud.
Oh, I'm sorry. You want me to ask it out loud?
Yes, please.
I'm wondering if it's been possible to get more attachment nodes for props, even if the poly and vert limit stayed the same. I realized after I made some of my props that, like, wow, I could have made a full suit of armor if I'd had like 2 more attachment nodes, as opposed to just having some parts of armor, a suit of armor.
Right. As soon as some of these other projects get finished up, I kind of hope to go back to the props and add the other specs that people wanted.
So does that mean you'll be able to wear more than one prop at a time?
No. That means we'd have additional nodes to. Right now we have 1 through 5, up to 5 nodes on the prop. What Francis is suggesting is up to 7.
All right.
that was also another suggestion that was brought to the map, though, was it ever going to be possible to wear more than one at a time?
Right. Yeah, Francis. It may be 8. We'll actually plan out the specs once we get to that. So I'd work with like we did with the last batch. We'd actually plan them out in the forum. As far as multiple props, that's kind of a bigger change, and we know the desire to do that, but right now that isn't currently a project in progress.
Are they ever going to be able to correct the problem with not being able to use the boost for like the hoverboards and that while you're wearing the props?
Yeah, I think currently whenever you put on an item, it steals the right mouse button. So I think the props do it because the drinks do it.
Can it be removed?
We made a note of it. We're not currently working on that as a project, but was noted as a desired feature change.
Even if it's like something that would be invoked if you went into action mode.
All right, I've actually got a couple questions in the queue. If anybody else has any other questions, please send me an IM. Let's start with Banshee Kate.
Mel had one last thing that was brought to Mab.
Let me add you to the queue, Femi, and then you can ask that question, please.
Hi, yes, this is regarding props. While we're on the subject, could there be a fix for props so they don't come off when you go to get a drink? Of course, that's in the same category as wearing multiple props at the moment, I realize that, but if you pick up a drink, you lose your ball gown skirt.
Right, yeah, I mean that's the same item. Basically, you can only carry one item at a time.
Could there be a fix for that, though, in the future?
Well, we got hugs, right? We got facial hair, and so, I mean, anything's possible in the future.
Okay, and can I ask one more prop question?
You didn't forget about the hugs, did you?
No. The other prop question is, would it ever be possible to lower the wholesale on props? They're just so expensive. People are shocked at the prices that we charge on the auctions.
Next round we do with the specs. We can go, take a look at them, see if there's anything we can do with them.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Cool. Next question is from Sheets.
Oh, that's me. Okay. My question is about making the item dispensers either painter objects or having the ability to make a builder object with, that just the center frame technology in it. That's one of them.
Yeah, I think we want to take some of the, some of these items. We also want to do that with some of the particle effects as well, and integrate them into either builder kits or painter kits. I think that's a great idea.
And you can feel free to use that center frame technology. I'll let you.
The center frame technology, put a little trademark symbol next to it.
Okay, my other question was, really it's kind of simple. The younger people seem to really want black bunny ears, Chaz. Is there any way to slap a little black paint on those puppies for them?
If I ever get a free moment, I will try.
Okay, which also brings to the other part of the question is about either doing painter supers or, even if this wholesale on those were $20K, I know myself and a lot of other people who would pay that much just to be able to have the ability of supers that look different.
I can bring it back. I think, some of those features are, want to be used for some of the partner items, just to give them, some abilities to, to put on partnership items. But, I'll bring it back to the team again.
Next up, we have Femi.
I'll pass mine to Meadow, because it was Meadow who remembered what it was.
Go for it, Meadow.
Okay, yeah, Sheets actually kind of touched on this a second ago, but we had somebody that asked the MAB to find out what the chances were of Super Bunnies and hair being released to the developers.
I mentioned, about the Super Bunnies. Hero is actually it's a different technology than the models. There's some. It's a different process. You have to weight the item and create all the spa settings, bring right now those items are done internally. It's always possible in the future that we would open that to a developer type program.
I know, but maybe do they want it just for painting or to actually create models based on that item?
I think they just wanted to be able to paint them.
Okay, that was where mine is. They wanted both to paint the existing scoots, and the other part was they want to know if there will ever be a chance for user-created scoots. But the question that she was talking about is they want to paint the existing things, like the things that theirs sells, that we're allowed to paint the clothing, we're allowed to paint the stuff from StyleMaker, we're allowed to make our own models, but there's users who would like to paint things that are already in world, like the hair and the bunnies and the 12 seekers.
And therefore, I guess sell the item for less than the shop price too.
That seemed like they were all willing to pay the same prices, but they just wanted the ability to paint them, to customize them to their own builds, therefore selling more. I'd buy more bunnies if they came in different colors.
Yeah, right now the hairstyles aren't really consistently mapped for painting like the shirts or pants are. So that'd be quite a bit of work to go back and change those all. It's possible, as a future project though.
And user-created scoots, is that ever a possibility?
Everything's a possibility. Right now that isn't currently a project, but it's always possible that either through some sort of maybe advanced developer program or Uber developer program, we would work with specific developers or something like that. I think there's desire. It's just how we actually go about doing that.
And the difficulty there, Chaz, is because the hair has to shape with the head as people make adjustments to their avatar, right? Because you can't just create the hairstyle and plop it on someone's head, because someone could change the shape of the head, so the hair has to change with it, correct?
Right. There's actually it actually bends with the head, and also as you change the different spa settings, it changes size and such.
Yeah, the users that brought that to us, they're aware of the weighting and things like that, and also that there was a user before this released hair. Am I correct? That's done it. That seems to be fairly successful in world, and yeah, they understand that, and I'm pretty sure it would only be the users who got that. And we're learning about, just as general community, about the not stretching with the spa settings with the prop hairs, because only certain members can wear those without looking like we're crazy. So yeah, we know that part. That's why they don't want more prop hair. That's why they're trying to get the scoots. They know that there's supposed to be spots where you weight it and stuff like that. The difficulties are understood. They would just like to know if it will ever be accessible to the community in general, or even a select few.
Yeah, I think that's that's the goal to get there. Either having some developer program where we have maybe training, and then a way for them to release those items, or even more expanded than that. That's the eventual goal with those items.
All right, next on the list of questions, we got ones from Percy.
Yeah, it's actually a double question. It's slightly broader than the previous ones. Aside from Super Bunnies and hair and all that, are there any plans to put more models in the StyleMaker? For instance, what I've been asked a lot is a female Letterman jacket, for instance.
Well, there's 4 additional types currently in the works for StyleMaker. The fitted tops and bottoms. As more items become available, we look at releasing those developers, as quickly as possible. There aren't currently any in the works, but those seem to come out of the blue. A partner will want a specific item, and then that's made available to us to release to the developers. That's kind of how it usually happens.
Ah, okay. My second question had to do with the StyleMaker and Previewer program itself, because a while back in the client we had the issue on the Intel graphics cards that when you fired up the client it would switch to 16-bit mode. That has been fixed now, but the StyleMaker and the Previewer, the versions that are currently available, still do that.
Yeah, some of that needs to be merged in. The problem with the there was some differences between the client and the StyleMaker and Previewer code, because StyleMaker and Previewer allow you to actually resize the windows, and the client currently you have to select that from some presets. So those changes have to be merged in to fix some of the other issues.
All right, thank you.
Our next question is from Jinxed.
Hey, that's me. Hey guys, thanks for answering. Let me ask this. I'm sure you've gotten this question before, I just don't remember the answer. Why no ability to make textures greater than the 512 pixel width or height? Because Previewer does support it, and I think it'd be helpful for like one-strip animations and things like that.
It's just a matter of resources with resource usage with the texture. As you get to larger size, you start having issues with fragmentation of memory. So you're basically taking these larger blocks of memory, and then as you're freeing them, you can get into situations where now you don't have enough room for those larger textures. And currently, as you're visiting a lot of neighborhoods and you're loading a lot of these textures, you can actually have an issue with running out of memory and your client just kind of shutting down. So until we actually are able to address that, if that's possible, we kind of limit the size of the textures.
Okay, thank you.
Next we have another question from Benchikit.
Hi, okay, my questions relate to coding and tools, so this is for Chaz. One thing that bothers me is I can be logged into their pages, but when I try to get into the dev site, it makes me log in again, and bugs the heck out of me. Any chance of that getting fixed?
I'll make sure that's filed as a bug. It shouldn't ask you to log in again. I know it does, but I'll make sure that that's actually logged in as a bug for the 2D team.
And it doesn't always happen, but it happens quite frequently. Okay, the other tool that's very badly needed is a search bar in our personal order page, our My Submissions page. Coming up to 1,500 items here. Nightlight, yeah. And I used to use the old order page, but the old order page with the orange buttons is deteriorating rapidly.
Yeah, I know some other projects, came into that. I know they had to start working on like the registration site and the website, and that took a lot of 2D resources away. Hopefully we can get back to the developer site and finishing off the submissions page, because some of those features were planned in there, like search and tagging and things like that.
Oh, we so need that. Thank you for trying to bump that back up for us. The other thing is, under the tools department is, are there any dev zone fixes in the near future?
I don't believe so. I know that Pixel was talking about, once the new UI, which currently is in alpha testing, um, she was going to go back and look at some of the fixes for the developer zone, but I don't believe anything will be done until the UI is ready.
Oh, there's a new UI come. The new UI for the client.
For the client, correct.
Oh, okay. So we can look forward to some improvements in the dev zones in the foreseeable future then.
Hopefully.
Oh, great. Okay. Thank you very much.
Our next question is from Yoshitoshi.
Yay. Let's see, this one's kind of a two-part. Are you planning on having any exporter support for future versions of 3ds Max? And also, have you ever thought about kind of simplifying it and just doing an FBX converter so that you can use multiple programs?
Yeah, the original plan was to go with something like the film box, or the FBX. That's part of Max. There is some work being done to upgrade the client to DirectX 9, and I saw in there an exporter for later versions of 3DS. So the problem with that happens to be the version of the compiler that it requires, and we're currently working on bringing our whole build system up to date with the latest compilers, which will allow us to build some of the newer exporters. The other issue is, of course, every version of the software that we want to have an exporter for, we actually have to own that version, and that gets a little pricey if we don't have a lot of people actually using those. So if we have like 2 people actually using 2009, to actually go out and buy a copy of 2009 for that gets a little pricey. But with that said, those actually are in the works.
Yeah, if anybody's ever taken the leap to get a full purchase of 3D Max, get the subscription because it pays for itself instantly.
Alrighty. Next question is from Meadow Angel.
Thanks. Yeah, Banshee Kate reminded me of a previous question that had been asked of the MAB that I don't think we got an answer on yet. And that was if it was possible to get like folders or something added to the My Submissions section of the developer page so that people could like organize and put like the items that had been rejected and stuff in a folder so they don't have to scroll through all of those to list their items.
Yeah, that kind of thing was planned in the next version of the My Submissions page. One of the ideas was tags, and then being able to search on the tags and be able to hide certain items that you don't want to see. But as I mentioned, there's currently some other 2D projects that are in the front right now.
Thanks.
Next question is from Francis.
Oh, hi. I'm wondering about a Gmax version of the male model for help making props.
I do have one if you want to email me. The Gmax version isn't fully tested or fully complete, actually. I have the 3DS version of it, but the Gmax isn't complete yet, and I haven't been able to get back to that to finish that one. But the 3DS one is complete. If you want to get a copy just send me an email.
Thank you.
But keep in mind, once again, folks, that's the 3DS model, not the free model that you can use in Gmax.
Our next question is from Banshee Kate.
Boy, I'm full of them tonight, huh? I'm making up for all the last meetings where I didn't hardly talk. All right. I know Skippy isn't here, but I had 2 suggestions for the auctions. Again, we have outfits that we wish we could so-called bundle together, but we can't. So while we're waiting for that day to come, is it possible to add a button to our item that says simply match this? And if we click it, you get the other pieces to the outfit or the other pieces to the building or whatever it is that you have as a set. Are there any abilities to code in something to match your item?
Yeah, we've actually, past couple of weeks, have been kind of going through some of those, suggestions as far as, better shopping goes. We had done a survey a while back, and we've been trying to, push those in as what priority we want to set them as. There was actually quite a few, in regards to shopping that we wanted to consider, and I know that bundles or packages or whatever, bundled items was one of them. The types of things where you refer an item based on something else that you bought. For example, you might want to consider these items if you're buying this one, that type of thing. So those are all things that we've been kind of trying to prioritize.
Are they in the works, or are they just being talked about so far?
No, right now we're trying to prioritize which, because there are actually quite a few suggestions regarding shopping, and there are quite a few suggestions in general as far as just suggestions as far as things that we could do with the world. And we've been trying to prioritize some of those so that way, once engineering does have some resources, we can kind of have some things that are waiting to be worked on.
Thank you.
Next question is from Aztec.
It was just an idea with the dispensers, if maybe we could display the optional text instead for the auction item. And here's a third real item I know will say no, is if we could display the optional graphic that we usually have, if we could make use of that for our own marketing.
I can bring those items to discuss. There's not a whole lot of room on the for the additional images, but I can bring it back as some suggestions.
Thank you.
Next up is Nightlight.
Yeah, when I was a brand new designer, I got a survey about a lot of the features we've just been talking about now that I completed. I was wondering if you were going to poll the developer community with maybe even that same survey again, since there are a lot of new developers and a lot of things have changed, to see what is most important.
I'm not sure if we'd run that again. I mean, we've got a lot of good information the first time around, and I think what we've been trying to go through is each of those items that we got, and finding out if basically how much work is involved in each item, and how it benefits the community, and based off of that, we'd put those in towards the priorities.
Thanks.
And with that, I don't have anybody else in the queue. Is there anybody else who has any questions, comments? Monster?
I just remembered something too. I don't know who maintains the one document. It's on doing video in there, and I was looking at the item about turning off the voice squiggle line option, and they have the wrong keystroke in there. They have Control-Alt-L, and it should be Control-Shift-L.
I can take that. I'll go ahead and get that updated. Thanks for telling us.
And then I think the other option too is that you were still getting proposals for doing tutorials.
Yes, actually, we selected a contractor. I didn't get their permission to let you know who it is, but we have selected a contractor, a developer from the developer group, and really glad to say we're off to a really good start. So hopefully that should be coming out fairly soon. It is a lengthy process, so it will take probably a month or two before you actually see it on the site, but we'd love to have you know, comments when it gets released, and we'll be sure to release it to the developers first. And it's a getting started guide for new members.
Thank you. And also, Chaz, just to give you a heads up, I'm talking with MAB members and getting some of them incited to want to get sound libraries installed for vehicles. So if you start getting that from the MAB, you can blame me.
Okay, that's good.
People really like it. It's a really good sell point. It really enhances the experience in there for when people hear these things now.
Right. One thing I want to bring up, I don't know if you know how many people made into the beta, but one thing that's kind of been in the works behind the scenes is, you know, addressing in-world decorating. So we got some new zones coming up that will allow 100 drops, and also the new card tables that we have, the Motu Motu style card tables, are 1-drop tables rather than 5. And of course those will be returnable and auctionable. And also that was in the beta, was we were bumping up the number of interactive items to 30 in a zone.
With that being said, when is it going to be?
The plan for those is within the next couple months.
Is there anything?
I think so there's definitely going to be lots and lots of questions about this, and people asking specific questions. Like right now, I'm already seeing, how about hoods? What about stuff? We're still hammering a lot of that stuff out, as far as I know. I don't know if any of those answers are set in stone yet, but I do believe, like, I'm actually only on the sidelines. I only kind of hear about what's going on this particular project, but I know that they're considering all aspects. So their real estate is working with the Chaz, who's working with, you know, lots of other people internally. So any of those questions that you guys have, they will be answered in time, but I don't know if we are ready to answer those questions yet. Do you? Besides the fact that we're working on.
It will, you know, I said passes, I should have said real estate. It will also apply to lots and neighborhoods as well.
Even existing hoods?
We don't have the details on exactly what's going to be upgraded versus what's new products. That's still being worked on, but as far as, you know, we are considering the various types of real estate.
And is everybody excited or what? Come on, that's pretty darn cool.
Woohoo, yeah.
Hey, maybe you'll sell more porta-homes.
That's funny. Francis, thanks.
You're welcome.
Oh, is there anything else, guys? Is there anything else? Any questions, comments, feedback?
Yeah, is there going to be full-length dresses in the style maker?
I'm sorry, repeat that?
I've had people ask me that. Is there anything in the works about making a template for a full-length skirts, let's put it that way?
There's nothing currently in the works. We know that people would like to see those types of things. Currently our avatar skeleton doesn't support that. Along with the animations, doesn't support that type of skirt. But we have that on the list as a future suggestion.
Flag Girl, what's up?
I am brand new to developing, and I've made some boxes, and I'm real proud of those. But I do have some questions, and I found a few tutorials, and, bashing my head a little bit. But I was just wondering if you planned on, I noticed you said they were going to be for new members, the tutorial. Was it going to be any more extensive than, just for new members, or was it going to be, like a series or something of that sort? Because I seriously need some, GMAX 3DS help.
So I can answer a couple parts of this. So I have a couple suggestions. We have a forums, and in the developer section of the forums, there's actually a thread, questions. What is the thread called exactly? Questions from people who want to design things, and they have lots of developers who have made lots of posts in there, helpful posts, answering all kinds of different types of questions that people have. I actually think that it would probably be about time that we start to take some of the really good feedback from there and actually maybe restart the thread. I don't know. But yes, it's a really big thread. It's with lots and lots of good feedback. There are obviously lots of developers here in this room, and I'm sure a lot of them would be very, very helpful. I know that there are some people in here, like Francis, who enjoy helping members do things and check that stuff out. As far as other developer tutorials,
So I guess that if there's going to be a series, we would like there to be a series. At this point, the only plan that we have is a getting started guide, and that's for Style Maker and Previewer, just to kind of get the new members in the door. And hopefully, in the future, I'd like to say that we have tutorials that will take them to the next step, which is getting a little bit more in depth, and then eventually, as they're growing, it will get more advanced as they are growing as well. So basically taking new members straight through the whole developer process. But there aren't any plans beyond the Getting Started guide for right now, but definitely that is something I would like to see in the future.
Great. Awesome. Anything else from anybody? As always, you can always post in the forums any questions, comments you might have. We're here.
I wanted to know when we would be able to hold like 2 props.
So earlier in the meeting, we answered that, and I think at the current time, there is no status on that. I don't know. How come I can't remember what you actually said, the chat?
Yeah, that's currently not a project that's in progress.
That's what I thought. See, I'm really bad at listening at the same time as fielding questions and at the same time as making sure that everyone here is comfortable listening. All right, is there anybody else here who has a question, comment? Here we go. XCAL.
XCal.
XCal. There you go, XCal. Go for it.
How you doing? I don't know if it surrounds it. I guess it's development there in particular. But talking about the direct stream tune-in through the jukebox, other than going through Shoutcast and doing it, is there any plans in the future? Maybe you guys discussed this a little earlier. I didn't hear you or nothing. But I was just wondering if there had any plans of direct stream tuning in for radios.
So currently that's one of the items that's on our suggestion board. We don't actually have a project in the works for that. It's been a suggestion that's been made several times, and I think that in time we might be able to reach that project or a project similar to that. But right now it's just on the suggestion board. It isn't something that we're working on now. We're always looking to make improvements to how we advertise our events. So yeah, I would say that seeing more signs like that would probably be in the future. Would probably be a good bet.
Awesome. I'll buy them and put them up.
I'll pass that along.
Because at
All right.
10 T-bucks, everybody can get them.
All right, guys. Well, on that note, I'm gonna call it a night. Thank you, Chaz. Thank you, Helper Yoko, for coming. Thank you to all the developers for coming and talking with us. Thank you, Chagall. Night, everyone.